12th of October 2023. This news flash, I'm going to talk about Erdogan. He is, in a way, a weird guy, and many people interpret his actions as sitting on a fence and things like that, but he's actually a clever diplomat, and he plays the moment. He's very good at playing the moment, and he's not scared to walk a tightrope. But you cannot deny he does have influence, and you need to take note of what he says. Erdogan: we openly oppose the killing of civilians on Israeli territory. Likewise, we will never accept the massacre of innocent people in the Gaza Strip through continuous bombing. A conflict that is waged by cutting off water, electricity, entry and exit from the city, destroying infrastructure, destroying all places of worship from mosques to churches, schools, depriving people of access to basic humanitarian needs, bombing buildings in which civilians live, in a word, using all sorts of shameful methods. This is not war, but mass murder. A disproportionate use of force against the Gaza Strip, devoid of any moral justification, could lead Israel to a completely undesirable place on the world stage. Now, we should take note of what he's saying here, and then you must keep in mind that Russia is busy negotiating with Turkey to pull their forces out of Syria. That Middle East is a difficult place, and the Russians and the Chinese is busy to try and sort the issues between the different countries out there, because the Americans have zero credibility in the Middle East left. Zero. Nobody trusts them. Erdogan stated that what is happening in the Middle East looks more like mass murder than war. The disproportionate use of force against the Gaza sector, devoid of any moral justification, could place Israel in an entirely undesirable position on the world stage. This conflict, conducted through shameful methods, is not a war but mass murder, he said while addressing his parliament. And then there's this from Erdogan. What are 20 US military bases doing in Syria? Why did the US shoot down Turkey's military drone? Are we not NATO partners? Why is it that when it is advantageous for the US, they are partners, and when it's not favorable, it's not? Why is the US training terrorists and turning the Middle East into a bloodbath? The fact of the matter is, all these questions that Erdogan is asking here are valid questions, each and every one of them. And then more from Erdogan. Erdogan was again outraged by the news of the dispatch of a second US aircraft carrier to the Mediterranean. Where is America and where is the Mediterranean Sea? And I think that's a damn good question. But the American arrogance has created many problems in the past, and they don't want to take note that the world is changing. The reality of the Middle East is this: it is no longer the Middle East of 10, 15 years ago. Most of those nations are now well armed, and thanks a lot to the Americans. So, it is not going to be like with the Iraq war, where they're going to fight against people with AK-47s. They will be confronted now with highly sophisticated weaponry. And then I saw this discussion on Telegram. NATO and UN on the brink of collapse. Prepare for a seismic shift in the global power balance as we witness the dismantling of NATO and the UN. Here's the shocking truth. Turkey's strategic moves. I've sounded the alarm repeatedly, and now it's happening before our eyes. Turkey, a supposed NATO ally, has been secretly making strategic moves, aligning itself with Russia and China. Erdogan's bold declaration. Now, in a stunning twist, President Erdogan has publicly declared support for the Palestinians in the raging Hamas-Israel conflict. But here's the kicker. He's also issued a stark warning to the United States, demanding they stay out of the conflict. NATO in crisis. NATO leaders are in a state of shock. Why? Because Turkey, a NATO member, has covertly supplied weapons to Hamas via eastern regions. The unthinkable has happened. A NATO nation, Turkey, is threatening another NATO country, the US. NATO, which boasts a membership including the CIA, MI6, Rothschilds, and more, is in full-blown panic mode. Well, it was bound to happen. The fact of the matter is, NATO is managed by a lot of warmongers. And then we continue with this. Emergency NATO meeting called. NATO has called an emergency meeting because if Turkey leaves NATO or is ousted by other members' countries, NATO loses its biggest military ally in Europe, along with considerable funding and weaponry. The unthinkable looms large. Turkey publicly joining the Russia and China alliance. NATO's dark secrets unveiled. As if that weren't enough, NATO faces another crisis. US weapons intended for NATO and Ukraine are mysteriously surfacing in Iran. Ukraine has allegedly sold these weapons on the black market, ending up in the hands of enemies of the US and its NATO allies. Iran has acquired some of these weapons and passed them to Hamas. Turkey has also reportedly armed Hamas. The unraveling continues. Stay vigilant as this story unfolds. Jim Jordan, the incoming Speaker of Congress with Trump's backing, is set to expose NATO's weapons black market and reveal Ukraine's money laundering network, implicating Biden in Ukrainian crime syndicate operations. Declassification in progress. It's all coming to light. The deep state's intelligence apparatus is in a frenzy as the Trump card, Epstein's list and files, is set to drop before the 2024 elections. Musk, Turkey, Kash, Cheyenne Mountain commands, all part of his incredible revelation. Expect NATO, the UN, World Bank, Gates, and more to be implicated in the Epstein servers. Fact of the matter is, there are a lot of underhand and backhand dealings going on. There's a lot of questions that are being asked about what happened in Israel. How was it possible for Hamas to penetrate the Israeli security systems? Why? How did that happen? It seems unimaginable for a number of, let's call them freedom fighters, or what the hell you want to call them, to break through that high-tech barrier system that the Israelis built there. But then there's other commentators that are speculating now and saying that Israel has for a long time, it's been a long time since Israel was actually in a war, and they were most of the time posturing and intimidating, not actually fighting. And now the Hamas attack, let's call it an attack, has revealed weaknesses. And I've read other articles where there's apparently chaos in the conscription process in Israel. A lot of problems. So maybe the Israeli war machine is not as potent as the media wants us to believe. But what is going on there is really not good. And yes, when you mention Israel and Gaza, there's a lot of people that jump out and jump up and down, and they start quoting Bible verses and things like that, and then they start telling you that Jews are the special people and all things like that. For me, I just look at the facts that I see. I see what is happening, and I see what is happening there. And there are a lot of accusations against Hamas, but there is just as many accusations against the Israeli forces. The reality is this: as we are talking now, there is over 2 million people caged and locked down in Gaza, without water, without electricity, without food. And the Israelis has been bombing that city like hell. Something like 5 hospitals bombed, 7 or 9 schools, banks. They are out of fuel for their power station. So there's no electricity in that place. And what I cannot understand is that they are bombing civilians like hell, and a lot of children. But at the same time, the Israelis are bombing the hospitals. That is not right. That is not right. You cannot condone that. That's not a war. That is mass murder. But in any case, I'm not going to get involved in the emotional discussion about what's going on there. From my side, the way I see life, what they are doing to the civilians in the Gaza is totally unacceptable. But I've said it many times, karma is a bitch. They may jubilate tonight in killing so many children and women and putting those Gaza citizens through hell, without water, without electricity, without food. And they may feel strong, but the wheel will turn. Please give me a like, and subscribe, and share the thing. Thank you for your support.